This week we're at London. We're gonna play at the Wembley Arena. When I think of England, I think of double-decker buses.
I never played at such a big arena before, so it's gonna be fun. I'm really looking forward to play there. I'm so excited right now.
We're playing against H2K Gaming.
It's been a long time rivalry already since the last split. We and Co were on Cloud and Eclipse.
They really want to win against each other.
I think winning this means a lot to us.
I really think there's a lot more pressure in Co.
I don't really choke. I play actually even better.
They gave me this opportunity and I don't want to disappoint them.
This is a good experience because we're in front of a big crowd.
We will learn a lot about each other.
I really want to play now.
In the best of threes, the best team always wins.
See, we have broken out of the studio in Cologne, Germany, and we are broadcasting to you live from London, England. I am Lee D-Man Smith, and I'm joined by Trevor Quickshot Henry.
That's a Vuvuzela!
That was a Vuvuzela. It is going to be a very special weekend, ladies and gentlemen, of League of Legends action.
Yeah, and it is great to be here at the historic SSE Arena at Wembley. And what better way to start off our day than with the European Challenger Series finals. I think they like you, my friend.
It's good to be casting at home.
It is, and we do need to give thanks to everyone here and our friends at Coca-Cola. This is a best of 3 for the Summer 1 title between Ninjas in Pyjamas and H2K Gaming.
Yeah, and immediately after the final, of course, we'll be kicking off week 5 of the European LCS with a top-of-the-table clash between SK Gaming and Alliance. That's going to be followed by the Super Hot crew. They're going to be facing the Copenhagen Wolves.
Millennium will then do battle with Rocket, and Gambit Gaming will go up against Fnatic.
But first, here is a look at the path that the Ninjas in Pyjamas took, and H2K, of course, took to make it to the finals. As the #1 seed to lead off the tournament, NIP went 4-1 overall. The only loss was against Ocelot's Gamers 2 in the semi-finals.
Yeah, now the second seed, H2K Gaming, also went 4-1, only dropping a single game to Lublin Shore, but they still secured the victory in the last round. So yesterday, Gamers 2 did actually win that battle for 3rd place, meaning that they will automatically be entered into the Series 2 quarterfinals.
Meanwhile, their opponents, Lublin Shore, and the rest of the Challenger teams must now re-qualify and play 2 elimination games to return to the bracket for the Summer 2. And of course, in the Challenger Series, victories mean points. The teams with the most points at the end of the Summer Series 2 will get a chance to compete for an LCS spot, so their scores are very important.
Yes, they really are. H2K Gaming and Ninjas in Pyjamas are both sitting pretty at the top with at least 7 points. Whoever wins here today will earn 2 more for a total of 9. Never do math on stream. That will close out the first series here in the Challenger.
Yeah, Gamers 2 is in 3rd place with 5 points for their victory yesterday. Lublin Shore is now 4th place with 4 points. Denial Esports, SMW, and SK Gaming Prime, and of course, Unicorns of Love, all ended the tournament with 1 point. For more information about the schedule, the teams, and the players, head over to lolesports.com, where you can find all the information and much more.
Yeah, you can track how all the teams are performing both in the Challenger Series and the LCS on the road to the Summoners Cup. You can even vote on today's matchups. Just give a thumbs up to the team that you think will win on the schedule, and we will be checking in before each game to see how everyone voted.
Yeah, and to find out more information about the upcoming shows back home in Cologne, Germany, click on the tickets for all of the details. And now let's head on to today's final. It is Ninjas in Pyjamas against H2K Gaming. Ninjas in Pyjamas, they've gone through a number of changes since you may have seen them last. So let's guide you through the team as they are right now. NIP's starting top laner used to be ex-Gambit's mid laner, Alex Ich. But sadly for this event, Mozilla will be stepping in due to visa issues. I know, guys, it's not good. He has, of course, played alongside Reckless when playing for Fnatic Beta, and has also played with Exile in the mid lane, of course. While Mozilla definitely has some Challenger Series credentials, he will have some big shoes to fill, as Alex Ich, of course, has been dominant for NIP in recent weeks.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, G-Man. Alexic destroyed in several games last week at DreamHack Summer and in the semi-finals for the Challenger Series. So Mozilla will need to channel that same level of control if he wants to have a positive impact, especially against Oduwamne, who's a very strong top laner. He plays standard meta tanks and bruisers that we're used to seeing, Jack, Shyvana, Trundle. So we'll see if he's going to stick to that or pull something fun out for this final.
Well, Ko is the jungler, and he is the phenom that everybody was talking about last spring when he played for Cloud9 Eclipse. Unfortunately, he was too young to compete in the promotion series, but he's tipped to be a future star, that's for sure.
Yeah, many viewers are going to be familiar with this guy. He's an incredibly talented jungler. He's hyper-aggressive, he's gank-heavy, and he looks to impact lanes and counter jungle with ruthless efficiency. Let's see if he can do it.
Well, Exile came in to replace Nukeduck in the semi-finals, had to go toe-to-toe with Ocelot. He picked himself up just as many kills as Nukeduck did during the entire Spring Challenger Series. He went 13 kills in 3 games. Fantastic.
So the biggest difference between Exile and Nukeduck is the level of aggression and decisive play at early stages. Exile appears to work well with Ko, and he does appear to get involved quicker than Nukeduck did. So we'll see again if this is going to help NIP, considering they're playing with a sub in that top lane.
Well, Freeze is the very strong AD carry who has had a lot of LCS experience, of course, back in summer 2013. He's probably the most known for his Draven, but recently he's been dominating on Twitch, picking up the Plague Rat in 4 out of 5 games for NIP.
Yeah, he's just a very talented, aggressive AD carry. He's got the ability to carry his entire team. The one thing I do like is he seldom gets caught out of position. If you watch how he plays, he has to be a priority target for H2K Gaming if they're looking to win this.
Well, alongside him is Voidal on support, arguably the second most, or probably now the most experienced player on the team as it stands. Of course, he played for Gambit Gaming at the Season 3 World Championships.
Yeah, so he looked after that support role for most of the summer split. Between then and now, Voidal has definitely grown in ability. He's picked up some title victories when he was playing with Cloud9 Eclipse along the way, and he's definitely just grown into an all-star, one of the best supports in Europe.
So NIP come into this game as the favorites after winning DreamHack just last weekend. When looking at their statistics, they are very good at finding kills, but less impressive in objective play.
Yeah, they definitely like to hunt. They have secured the highest kills of all Challenger Series teams with 97. They've got the lowest average deaths per game. But when you look at objective play, they're not sitting in first. So we need to see if this kill-hungry style hurts them against H2K, who may be able to respond.
And speaking of H2K, they also has a fair number of familiar faces. And they've been quietly going about their business in the Challenger Series to reach this final. Oduwamne is the top laner, a name many of you may remember from Cloud9 Eclipse back in the spring.
Yeah, definitely. Odd one, I believe Twitch chat was calling him. He's a fantastic top laner. He just revels in his position. He always outfarms his direct opponent. And in every game he's played, his opponents have had the least farm accrued. So it's impressive when you consider lane swaps, when you consider varying matchups. So we need to keep an eye out for his top lane Kayle, which is his most dominant champion in the last few weeks.
Yeah, 31 KDA in the last 3 games is very impressive, that's for sure. Trashy is the jungler. He played with Reason Gaming in the last round of the Challenger Series and barely lost out to Denial back then. Now he's taken his carry jungle style to a new team, proving he can turn it into a success.
Yeah, Trashy is just instrumental in H2K's wins. His incredibly impressive kill participation exemplifies this. When ahead, he dictates the pace of the entire map. But he is going to be facing his toughest opponent in Ku, and I want to see if he has that same level of freedom. I also want to see if he plays Java in the 4th, because I think he's phenomenal on the Prince.
Well, in the mid lane is Forbidden, another player from former Cloud9 Eclipse Challenger team. He was also known for his Riven play, but has transitioned very well to the likes of Orianna and Nidalee with much success.
Yeah, so Forbidden's just an all-round solid player. He plays assassins, he plays bruisers, mages, poke, anything his team requires, and I do feel his highest impact is when he's on those assassin champions, but when you look at the team's picks and bans, it's very clear that Forbidden plays what his team needs, not necessarily what he always wants to play.
Well, alongside him is the 4th former member of Cloud9 Eclipse. He'll be seen today. It is Hyanan, the AD carry.
Yeah, Hyanan is the brains of the team. At least that's what his nickname implies. Solid AD carry. He's got good mechanical ability. I do contrast him to Freeze because I feel like he gets caught out from time to time, so his positional play isn't the strongest. And I want to see how he matches up against Freeze, who has world's level experience as well.
Well, AOD is the support. He's new to this big stage, and this will be the first time he's ever played in a large offline environment. That's a hell of a lot of pressure when you sit on that stage and look out at this crowd right now, because let's see if the synergy with Hyanan continues to work as it has online.
Yeah, so the thing about AOD is the passive support. He tends towards those reactive support champions like Morgana, like Karma. And in the games I've seen, he's definitely, again, more reactive than proactive in terms of making plays. But it was his engages against Lublin Shaw in the semifinals that kept H2K's hopes alive. If he wasn't on point with those soul shackles, I think they would have lost. I don't think they would have made the finals. So all props to him for turning things around on a reactive champion like Morgana.
Well, before we head into Champ Select, let's check in and see how you guys predicted this series will play out. According to the votes, you believe Ninjas in Pajamas will win this best of 3 by 88%.
It definitely sounds like the crowd has got their back as well. But it only matters in-game, it only matters in the field, and we'll have to see. Very interestingly, just before we get to picks and bans, all 6 members of the Cloud9 Eclipse roster are playing this weekend. And the reason I say 6, you've got all 5 of the core team playing in this game, and Santorin, who was their substitute, is playing for Coast, and he's playing in the NA final tomorrow. So Cloud9 Eclipse definitely proving they had very good sourcing in European Challenger players.
I like the irony that he switches to NA and then still plays the final in Europe. Gotta be happy about that one. Anyway, picks and bans going to be getting underway in just a second. What are we expecting to see from these teams? Twitch has been a big, big figure for Freeze, and I'm guessing Hyunan's going to be after it as well.
So I asked Freeze earlier if he was going to get his hands on Twitch, and he looked at me and he said, they let me play it in the semifinals, and I got to play it at DreamHack. So I don't know if the teams are going to prioritize it, but I definitely think it is a consideration. The only thing is, Freeze can have that same impact on Lucian, on Draven, on other champions. So it's very difficult to measure it. I want to see how the junglers play out, because I think Ko and Trashy are both very key components of their teams when they're winning. And considering them 4.9, you know, Lee, Elise, and Eve being the priority tier picks, we've been seeing in North America when junglers get banned out, we've seen Jarvan, maybe Vi, maybe Nocturne. So that's where I think my focus will be.
Well, here we go. Picks and bans about to get underway for the first of this best of 3 series. Ninjas in Pajamas, of course, starting out as the blue team with the first ban will go towards them. So it is going to be Morgana there. You talked about AOD's Dark Bindings landing straight away, targeting that support player.
Yeah, but we have seen AOD playing Karma in the past. Thresh is still available as well. Voidal was a very big Thresh player. We know he plays Sona because Gambit made him play it last year. And in all of the semi-final series against Gamers 2, he also got his hands on Braum. There was a lot of very early pickups on the Mustached Menace, so we need to see who will get his hands on that later.
Kassadin banned out by the red side. No surprises there. There's the Lulu ban, so taking that away from potentially for Bivin or Odo Amni. We've seen it in the top lane a fair few times, and of course originally he was a support player, so a number of bans still targeted towards him. Lee Sin will be the next ban that's about to come on your screens. Now this does surprise me a little bit because it's H2K that have banned it out rather than NIP. Trashy has, what, 1,500 solo queue games on Lee Sin. It's like the equivalent of Anivia for Froggen, I guess.
Trashy is a very good Lee Sin player, but I don't think it's too surprising. In the previous Challenger Series in the first split, Ko on Lee was absolutely dominant, and he would get in everybody's faces, and he's a very good early aggressive jungler. But considering that Elise is still up, if H2K don't ban Elise or Evelyn, I think it is a consideration for first pick. Alternatively, if anyone want to play it safe, they can lock in that Braum because, again, it doesn't reveal anything. Braum will fit in a lot of compositions, and he synergizes with a multitude of champions.
Kale also banned out by NIP. A champion, actually, I'm expecting to see pretty much 100% ban this weekend, actually. Evelyn, the final ban. So another jungle ban. That surely means that Elise has to be the first pick. No, they've left it open. They've basically baited them, said, you can take the route. We're going to take Elise.
Yeah, so this is one of those situations where there's a lot of strong champions up and available.
Ooh,
you can see Freeze with all of the, his notes, looking through picks and bans. By locking in Twitch, Freeze is going to the champion that he's played, as you highlighted, 5 out of his last 6 games. But it does allow a multitude of others through.
Ooh.
A lot of focus on Thresh from AOD. We need to see how he plays, because I don't know if he's got that playmaking ability in him.
So this is what surprised me, because generally it's considered there is the holy trinity of junglers right now. 2 of them were banned out, which meant at least had to be picked up by one of these teams. That's generally the 3rd one in there. But Jax is almost a poison chalice lately, because every team that seems to pick him up tends to lose, despite the fact he's a very strong champion. He takes a long time to get going.
Yeah, that's the problem. He needs 2, 3, 4 items minimum before he's a completely terrifying threat. Most teams can run Shyvana into him quite effectively, and you can counter him in that regard. But what we also need to remember is, with 2 junglers being banned away and Elise locked in, we seen last week Jax was played in the jungle by the Copenhagen Wolves.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the strongest in my mind because he takes even longer to power up, but it is something to consider, is something to keep in mind when we look at this pick and ban phase.
This is actually, with Yasuo in the mid lane, Riven's not a bad option.
No, you do have shields. You can, melee v melee. It's going to be difficult, but the mobility of Yasuo might make Riven's life difficult. I don't think we're going to see this Riven, purely because Febiven hasn't run it recently. He has been playing the likes of Orianna, Nidalee, which is still up and available, but you won't run Nidalee into Yasuo, as Yasuo is considered a counter.
Jarvan in the jungle. This is something we've seen in the semi-final to great effect by Trashy.
Trashy destroyed Lublin Shaw with his Jarvan. He had incredible tower dives, and I was blown away by watching his presence and his ability to avoid wards. That was one of the most impressive things about Trashy. He could get behind enemy lines because he knew the most common ward places and just use his flag and drag combo to mitigate that and reduce the threat. I do like Trashy on this champion, but again, it is all in. If Jarvan falls behind and he doesn't have the tankiness to stay alive in fights in the mid game, he's just going to get squashed. There's so much damage on the side of NIP. Trashy early, and he's all in.
And of course, Braum being picked in there. Just like against Gamers 2, Voidal's managed to get his hands on this. He was the first man to play it on 4.9, so it has worked out very well for him. And of course, Shyvana in the top lane for Mozilla.
I'm almost expecting an Orianna because it's the safe pick. It gives you late game. The only thing about H2K's comp is the Jax will need some time to scale. This is actually very smart. LeBlanc into Yasuo, because of the silence and the mobility, you can also juke around. You can punish Yasuo in the earlier levels, but if Febiven takes too much damage early on, he can get bullied out of lane by this Yasuo. It is a high damage pick, and I also like that because if LeBlanc and Jarvan decide to tower dive and go babysit Oduwamne and Jax, there is some utility to buy time to get Jax to that monstrous level that he wants to be at.
So teams locked in, everybody getting seemingly what they wanted. The Lucian Thresh combo is a deadly combo. The Twitch Braum combo is the new superpower in that bottom lane. And of course, the junglers, we're going to see how this Jarvan can measure up. Of course, Svenskeren ran it back in the LCS last week as well to great effect. So a lot of champion choices in here that I think everyone on the two teams are going to be very happy with.
I do feel that if H2K get ahead, they have got the engage ability from Thresh, LeBlanc, Jarvan, and even Jax to maintain that lead. But the problem is it's going to hinge on Trashy's performance in the early game. If he falls behind Elise, he has less tools to work with as the game scales.
Well, now that the players have chosen their champions, who do you guys think has the better comp? Send a tweet to @LOLesports with the hashtag NIPwin or hashtag H2KWin, and we'll check those results out shortly. It's great for these guys to be able to play on the big stage. They are the opening game of the day, of course, the opening game of the week here in London. And I don't know about you, Trevor, but I am delighted to be actually back here in London at last, finally doing an event in England.
And I completely agree. The crowd is definitely behind it. And, we've got some great players on stage. Everybody in this game has got experience on stages, but I was talking to the NIP guys and they said, we've never played on a stage this big.
Yeah.
And we've never played on a stage this prestigious. So
let's face it, England has never had an esports stage this big either in England. So this is the biggest we've been to so far.
And thank you to everybody for coming. You guys are awesome.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game on underway. Ninjas in pajamas as the blue team are going to be facing off against H2K as the red team. How will the inaugural opening game work out for them? Will First Blood come early on in the level 1 stages?
Well, there's definitely the potential for it. There is so many assassination and hard CC abilities, but it is risky in the first game of a best of 3. There's a lot of pros that talk about the first game being almost a throwaway game, figuring out what your opponents are doing, getting into their mindset. And yes, if you lose the first game, it is a risky place to be. But being on red side, you can counter, you can adjust your playstyle. And that's what the series is going to determine. Who can adjust to their opponents better under the lights in this setting.
So we'll see how it works out. Pink ward early picked up by Coop. Finding out Trashy there, going to land that spider right. Nope, just avoided it. Managed to get a simple ward down there. That won't get cleared out quite so quickly, but it doesn't look like we're going to see any early invades. It's going to be safe stuff for both of these teams.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way, and it also doesn't look like lanes are swapping yet. As I say, that freeze is backing away, so NIP may be setting up a lane swap themselves. Neither team got deep vision, so they couldn't predict where or if the lane swap was happening. And against a Jax, Shyvana's can do well in the early stage, but you can delay a Jax farming and delay his CS even further if you push him into a 2-on-1 situation. So this could be a timing decision from NIP to try and not only keep Odoamne down, but also buy some time for Freeze to get to that Blade of the Ruined King and allow him to set up those pick plays with both Yasuo and Elise.
And the buddy system working for Ko and Mozilla. Mozilla, of course, this is technically his first official game for Ninjas in Pajamas. Alexic really wishes he could have been here, but it's sadly not. And meanwhile, Exile in this mid lane. How is this going to work out? LeBlanc up against the Yasuo. We've seen some very aggressive Yasuos from the Chinese scene, but we're still yet to see one in Europe.
Yeah, the Yasuo, you know, you need to play super, super aggressively. And if Exile jumps on Forbidden early, when his shield is up and gets some lane control, I mean, it's a pretty even trade in the grand scheme of things. Exile's going to have that passive shield build up from Flow, and if he times his aggressive plays right, he can put Forbidden in a defensive spot. But it all depends on who gets the poke advantage and who can maintain the sustain. You'll notice that both champions have still got their pots. We've seen Yasuo's going the likes of Vampiric Scepters early just to survive in lane.
So check this bottom lane out. We can see Brahm's heading down there, so it's going to be, looks like Mozilla and Brahm heading down towards this bottom lane. Mozilla, of course, still using that buddy system, still alongside Ko in the jungle, which is leaving Freeze all on his own in that top lane.
And this is what we talked about. Trashy on Jarvan, avoiding the wards. He's snuck around from the NIP thanks to the flag and drag. Odoamne should have Counter-Strike. They're going to go all in on Exile. Here they come from the side.
See if Forbidden can silence him out quick enough. Trashy coming in with a double buff. Odoamne's got that Counter-Strike ready. Instead, we see him jumping away. He's going to get caught out, stunned out. That's Zilla going to go down. Flashes away. The Ignites don't run it. Trashy has to follow through. One more hit is there. And it's first blood for Trashy.
And Trashy does it on Jarvan. This is exactly what he did against Loveland Shore. But instead of ganking the side lanes where there was a numbers disadvantage, they were so sneaky. Very intelligent play. Avoiding the wards, pulling in the support of Odoamne on Jax, and they go first blood.
And actually, Mozilla using the teleport to get to the mid lane, make sure that doesn't get pressured down. Of course, there was 4 members of H2K there. They're both in the jungle, actually, just below Mozilla. Being careful he doesn't get caught into it. Odoamne teleporting to top.
And what's very smart about H2K's play is they have their duo lane in the bottom. So if they wanted to force out a dragon play, they could do that at an earlier stage than NIP. They have control of that area of the map. What they also need to keep in mind is Elises tend to try that.
Odoamne caught out by Ko. That's a lot of damage. Counter-Strike running, but he repels away from it. Flashes through. One more hit should do it. And Ko gets himself a kill. Back into mid lane. Exile trying to get away. He gets blasted out by Forbidden.
So trading 1 for 1, that was Odoamne just being somewhat unfortunate. The one thing I did like, Ko repelled the Counter-Strike. He managed to throw himself in the air and avoid the dodge. Because Exile doesn't have Flash, H2K may be able to rinse and repeat that mid lane gank. Thanks to the very hard CC LeBlanc, Jarvan, Jax, Thresh offer, anytime the Exile moves forward, H2K can come in behind him.
Well, so it's finally going to be this top laner. The support, Voidal's with him, so they're going to try and stick together. And this is actually leaving a long time for Freeze in that top lane. But in terms of CS, he hasn't got himself that far ahead. However, he did get an assist off that kill just a moment ago because he managed to start out the damage on Odoamne very early on.
But the very important thing to note is once Freeze takes out this tower, he's going to be unlocked from that lane. And it's going to give him the ability to roam around the map. If Ko and Exile want to invade the red side jungle of H2K, they don't have the safety of that top tower to fall back to. So yes, he's not necessarily ahead in terms of CS, but in terms of map presence and pressure, once Freeze starts recalling him back away, H2K have to worry, where is the rat? Is he ambushing me? Is he looking for those kills? Because he should have enough for a Cutlass soon.
Yeah, continuing that farm in the top lane. Not a great deal of anything special coming out of the items just yet. Tekken Doran's ring actually picked up by Forbidden, so making sure he's got that sustain in the mid lane against Exile, who is still only level 4, by the way, so he's a level behind at the moment. Ku's with him. Trashy's coming back around. This time around, Trashy needs to be a little more cautious. And still, we haven't seen NIP warding out against that Jarvan play.
No, so the problem is it's very difficult. If H2K have studied NIP's warding, they can use that, as you said, the flag and drag from Jarvan to avoid different routes. But you'll see that the vision just behind the Dragon Pit for H2K will reveal any reverse red side wards. So it's just smart play from H2K, and it's more intelligent against NIP without Alex, because Alex was their shot caller. he was their in-game leader. Freeze actually mentioned that some of the scrims they've been playing lately, they've been somewhat indecisive once they're under pressure or in the mid to late game. So we need to see if this early lead for H2K gets into the heads of the Ninjas in Pajamas.
As you can see, H2K have switched lanes. They've now got Hyuna and AOD in this top lane on Thresh and Lucian. They are just in time to maybe go in and cause some problems on that blue buff, which will be spawning in around about 30 seconds time.
I'm not sure if NIP are going to make aggressive plays until Mozilla gets level 6. He's just got his teleport available. He's a tiny bit behind Odawamne in terms of experience. But H2K have been playing super aggressively. They've been the ones finding the ganks, making the plays. But it's only equated to 300 gold. It is literally just that single kill difference. CS-wise, pretty close in the top lane. Exile is falling a little behind, but finally H2K look to be grouping for Dragon, and they've got their whole team here for support.
They're going to get straight on this one. Nothing that NIP can really do to try and challenge this one. Ko is nearby, still only level 5 though, has not got Smite available just yet. It's still on cooldown, so they need to try and delay this one if they're going to get in there. H2K secure that, no problem.
Yeah, no vision, no real support from the rest of NIP. Mozilla has opted not to finish the tower off. He's denying the CS from Jax again, just trying to take every little victory that he can. Odawamne does have teleport, so if he wanted to save, I'm not really sure if he can save this tower now. Mozilla's going to try.
This may be a problem, actually. He's going to take the tower down, Mozilla. Question is, can Odawamne take him down? He's got a big minion wave with him. He doesn't fancy this fight. They're both only level 5, so he hasn't got Dragon Descent to leap away. Leap Strike, though, was used early on.
Yeah, Burnout plus the boots from Mozilla was able to get him out clearly. So tower finally taken down. Freeze wasn't able to secure it in his last push. Has rejoined this duo lane against Hyuna and eventually AOD. And Trashy, he's going to get found out by Ko.
Oh, Fabiven's managed to catch in there. Fabiven caught out. Ultimate comes out from Exile, but Fabiven quickly distorts away from that one. Also, in the bottom area, you can see Trashy was caught out, but that red buff not enough to keep the damage on.
So it was actually NIP that went for that blue buff invade. After the Dragon was secured by H2K, they had prioritized, obviously, the Dragon camp over NIP's blue, and they went down. We do see that Hyuna is overextended, and Freeze wants him.
He's going to get caught out and slowed down here. Is it going to be enough to stop him, though? He can quickly dash away. Voidal trying to catch on towards him, but not enough damage. They didn't get that stun down quick enough.
Yeah, Voidal was just too far away. Voidal did have flash, he didn't have his ultimate, and unfortunately, no concussive blows passive from Braum to actually stun anyone up. And H2K, I'm very impressed with their, opening 10 minutes. They've had a very clear game plan. They've ganked Exile on Yasuo, and they're continuing to pull ahead, but it's by no means a dominant lead at this stage in the match.
Right now, red buff going to be going across to Trashy. You can see it there, just clearing that one up. Exile in his mid lane, been fairly ineffective so far. Of course, taking the 2 deaths that H2K have picked up, but he has been taking these raids every single time from Ko. Ko himself, I think, just secured himself the blue buff, so they're keeping the blue buff on a leash for now.
And I think that's purely because of the fact that Exile is behind and they've ganked him multiple times. Ko's had some very good invades and counter ganks. If you consider the first kill NIP secured was thanks to Ko going for a jungle invade of H2K and catching Odawamne out. They managed to force Trashy and Fabiven out of his own blue buff area a moment or two ago. And this is very traditional for Ko. He likes to counter jungle, and he likes to spend a lot of time in his opponent's half of the map. So it's working, but it hasn't equated to any sort of lead. And Ko is also building tanky. You can go a couple of different routes on Elise, and he's gone for that Spirit of the Ancient Golem as his first item pickup. So let's see if he goes towards Orangians maybe as his next item. That could do very well against the high mobility of H2K.
Looks like Voidal wants to try and make some sort of play, lands that passive onto AOD, but doesn't get followed up. Ko is coming down to this bottom half of the map, so we may see a potential invade, potential gank on towards him. We do see Trashy actually heading away from here, so this is going to be a 3-on-2 situation. Especially
because Voidal just got access to his ultimate. Because there's so much CC from both Braum and the Cocoon of Elise, if Hyuna and AOD overextend, we could see Voidal going in. But again, it needs to be very well executed because they have to lock one of them down for a prolonged period of time.
Red ward placed out there by Mozilla behind the H2K jungle. Voidal still looking to try and create something. Fabiven though, look at this, they're closing in towards the top lane. And Mozilla, he's got to be starting backtracking quickly. He's going to get 2-on-1 here. Trashy's not getting close enough. Quick check, and you can see that the golems have already gone, but look at the bottom half of the map.
We'll see how effectively Ko can come in from behind. The minion wave's not pushing against H2K, and you can see they feel something's up. Voidal...
He walked past the ping ward.
Yeah, Voidal and Freeze have gone very aggressive multiple times. There's a ton of pings from H2K, and they respond well. Good defensive warding. allows them to back off. I do want to highlight as well, NIP's composition can actually do well against the Jarvan Cataclysm because Shyvana, Elise, Yasuo, and Braum can all get out of the Cataclysm with their natural abilities if they time them correctly. So Twitch is the only one that can really get locked in, and for H2K they're going to be looking to try assassinate him quickly and then deal with the rest of NIP, primarily using Cataclysm as a disruptive ultimate as opposed to an entrapping ultimate.
Well, the problem I'm seeing right now is the fact that Odoamne is getting free farm in the top lane. That you saw that Mozilla had pushed that wave down, and he actually got himself fairly ahead of Mozilla in terms of farm. We do see Forbiven going a little bit aggressive. Actually, the Ignite was used there. Wasn't really completely committed to the attack. They just steady just keeping Exile away.
Yeah, and the one thing you do see is Exile managed to farm himself back up to relevance. You know, he was camped twice in the first 5 minutes of the game, and is now only 5 CS behind Forbiven. The fact that Exile is now getting more attack damage just with his levels, and he's got the Zeal built up, he can trade pretty effectively. He's now got the support of the rest of Mozilla and Co. It looks like they're going to get a lot of damage. Look for Cataclysm from the side. Trashy wants to go in.
Co taken pretty low there, and again the minion wave was cleared out. There comes Trashy, jumps on towards Co, destroys him where he stands. Trashy now, he's in trouble, he gets taken down. Quick return kill by Mozilla.
Yeah, so they end up trading 2 for 1, but you need to look at summoner spell trades. NIP had to burn 1, 2, 3 flashes and an ignite for only the flash of Trashy. So yes, they end up trading evenly on gold, but Ninjas in Pajamas are now down much more summoner spells than H2K. So it's actually H2K that come out ahead in that situation, as well as defending their own tower.
Fantastic stuff, working out well for them. We did see Freeze backing off. Hadn't quite got enough gold, it seems, to get that Bilgewater Cutlass. He's waiting in the base. I think he's going to wait for that gold to tick on up so he can just about afford it. There he goes, just gets it in, locks it in. So Blade of the Rune King now picked up. Meanwhile, Bloodthirster has yet to be completed by Hyanan. And of course, that dragon is up in 5 seconds' time. You can see already H2K moving into position for it.
And with teleports on both Mozilla and Odoamne, both teams have the option to try and pull resources to the split-pushing top laner. What I think NIP should be looking to do now is almost bait Odoamne into a split-push position and then gank him with that freeze on Twitch and Co on Elise, because they need to do something. He's got a 25 or 30 CS lead over Mozilla, and it's growing very, very quickly.
Look in the base, Mozilla is a long way away from this one. He's got teleport available though if he really needs to join in. This could be the first big 5v5. Void will try and lock into position and freeze his position will be...
If H2K group, they're going to get knocked up by Voidal, and that's exactly what Exile wants. They're going in!
They're going to jump on towards him. AOD bounced in the air there. Where's he going to go towards? He can look towards Odoamne. Odoamne trying to get the damage across. Exile taking so low. The double tap, not quite enough. Odoamne does go down instead. Hyanan on the side there, but look at that. The dragon's already been secured. And now they're going to keep on chasing. Mozilla, full hit points, finally joins his fight, but he's way too late to get involved in this one. And H2K are just dropping them. It's a triple kill in the end by Forbiven. Exile is going to be able to escape this one. Distortion not quite up in time.
Very good peel away from H2K. Voidal dove into the fight trying to get that Glacial Fissure down, and because he didn't get any knockups, Exile never got an ultimate off. Look at how effectively H2K just split. Nobody was knocked up by that Glacial Fissure, and such good focus onto Exile from H2K meant he didn't get his last breath down, and it's just all of that damage, all of that burst from the Assassin was completely negated. Very well played by H2K. Unfortunate for NIP, they mechanically didn't land what they needed to.
Yeah, the fight went on long enough that, of course, we saw Forbiven able to get that triple kill, keep that cooldown going. Voidal holding the wave, making sure it doesn't get lost out to the tower, so Freeze can come and get some of those kills, and they need to start getting that assassination rat on the roam. Get him going. At the moment, it is a big problem. Check out that 50-50. You guys very much split on this one right now. And rightly so, because H2K has started off very well. They're going to dive on towards Odoamne caught out there. Good counter-strike goes down, but he gets locked up by the Cocoon. Odoamne will go down, but he got the kill on Mozilla, so it's a good trade in the end.
Yeah, they also got a kill on Exile in the mid lane. Now, what I do like about NIP is they did identify, if you can get Odoamne split pushing, they have the champions to actually gank him and punish him. Unfortunately, they took too long to start doing it, and that was why Odoamne got a kill in that top lane. So this just looks like a fairly simple 2v1, and Exile just gets shut down and locked down.
Yeah, Yeah, caught out completely, no way out of that one. So H2K starting off very well here, 9-4. And I talked about Jarvan earlier on. I know Shyvana takes a while to get going, but he's now 30 CS behind. That's a big differential when you're up against the Jarvan. Jax, rather, sorry.
It really is. He can't really win these trades. Odoamne's got a good place. He's working towards his Trinity Force. And because he's got so many threats from Trashy and Forbidden, if NIP opt to focus one of them, one of those sort of solo laners down, the others can finish off. Forbidden is looking to pop code. He needs to make sure he gets that silence. Forbidden the hell goes up.
He's 4-0-3. He's already got the Morellonomicon and the Rabadon's Death Cap almost completed. He is going to be a beast. All we're seeing right now from Exile is the static shift. He cannot compete right now in this mid lane.
No, he really can't. And the problem is, because Exile is so far behind, once Odoamne continues to split push, there's no one from NIP that can truly contain him. Mozilla may be able to delay him, may be able to kill those minion waves and hold him off towers for a limited period of time, but eventually Odoamne is just going to start ignoring him and going for towers. Yeah. And maybe a tower dive here from H2K.
Well, he puts the ward down, it's going to give him vision, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to get out of this one. Even in a 2-on-2 situation, there's a lot of damage from H2K here. We got Play to the Rune King already on Jax, who pounces on Counter-Strike, lands quickly, locking him up. He goes down in seconds, and now Code's got to be careful. He's trying to get on towards Forbidden. He has found the right Mimic to get towards, but you can see it. Odoamne's there, he gets him! Gets the shutdown bonus. Can he turn it around on towards Odoamne? Odoamne putting some big damage back on towards Code.
Odoamne is just chunking absolutely everybody. Exile should be able to get this tower. He does. He's looking for a fight with Trashy as well.
Does he fancy this one? He has got a level advantage, but in terms of item-wise, they are pretty even, because still, as we mentioned, Exile yet to get that big damage item. That's the top tower for Odoamne.
So they end up trading kill for kill as well as tower for tower. But I do think this is a little more important for NIP, because with both the middle and top towers down, it allows NIP to try get into the blue buff area of H2K and just focus all of their resources on this bottom lane to regain control of the Dragon Pit. They're down 2 dragons, they're down 4,000 gold, and if NIP do not stop the rots right now, H2K will be too far ahead for them to come back in this game.
Well, Dragon just over 2 minutes away. Freeze needs to get rocking in this game. He's barely been seen, honestly. He's just been farming up, but you can see he's actually behind on Hyanan in the farm as well. Hyanan, the brains of the team, it's what it means in Swedish, or so we're told, at least. Anyway, we're either being trolled quite badly, or that's the actual case. But Freeze, he's really not been unlocked. We saw him obviously in the top lane. We thought if he takes his tower down quick enough, he's going to be able to get out. But look in the top lane again. They're looking to gank up on Mozilla. This time around, there's no tower to save him. Forbidden's closing.
H2K are doing what NIP should be doing. NIP should have been focusing this Jax and trying to shut him down, get Mozilla into a lead so that Mozilla can 1v1 Jax. Because they do scale effectively, but obviously they go in different directions. Mozilla's going to be building and itemizing and working towards a big team fight presence. And if Mozilla was able to get, the CS that Odoamne currently has, NIP could force team fights. NIP could let Mozilla dive in with Dragon's Descent and then be backed up with Exile. That is not available to them because Mozilla will just get popped. He hasn't even built any magic resistance, so Forbidden can continue to punish him until Mozilla gets some of that MR.
Yeah, Mozilla trying to get as tanky as he can, and that's rightly so when you're up against the Jax, who's 50 CS ahead of you. But frankly, you can't compete with him anymore. I mean, he does get a little bit of magic resist off the Dragon's Descent, effectively the same as a Negatron Cloak, but that's not enough. When you're looking at LeBlanc, who has that Rabadon's Death Cap already completed along with the Necronomicon.
Morellonomicon.
It's the technical correct name, but Morellonomicon is what we called it in this game.
Yeah, so at this point, it's all about H2K. I just think they've had fantastic ganks, which has then led them to Dragons. Now, the previous team fight, NIP initiated it, and it was a poorly executed Glacial Fissure from Voidal, which meant Exile couldn't get damage down. So Dragon spawned, Mozilla once again is late to the party. Dragon's dead.
Well, that's gone. That's gone. They're not even getting close to that. That's so much damage now coming out of H2K. NIP way too slow to react to this one. And now they're in a tricky situation because there's a lot of members of H2K moving in towards this mid lane. They're not going to follow through. They could have pushed that mid turret.
Yeah, they could have. And I hate to call Mozilla out. He is struggling. He is behind already. But he was again late to the fight. In the previous Dragon Engage, Mozilla had back to finish his Sunfire Cape. He did have teleport available, and maybe if that fight had worked a little differently, he could have got there in time. But again, he's just not on 100% the same page as the rest of the Ninjas in Pajamas. And keep in mind, he was only subbed in this last week and a half. So there is an adjustment period, and he seems to be struggling.
Yeah, H2K currently 5,000 gold in the lead. Looking good. Let's see what they can do now that those outer turrets are starting to crumble. Just the bottom one remaining for them to keep on pushing. You can see Freeze back down here, keeping that farm going, keeping ahead just about against Hyanan. You guys at home, of course, tweet us NIP win or H2K win to see who you think this is. It's going to be a best of 3, don't forget. It's not just one single game. A lot of matches to go today, of course. Following this best of 3 will be the 4 LCS matches, starting out with SK Gaming up against Alliance. A giant first game for the LCS.
Yeah, it will be incredibly exciting. This game has also delivered 15 kills in 20 minutes, and H2K have been very intelligent. They don't know they stood on top of a ward, so looking to jump on anybody moving to red buff. But look at this, NRP's come up. Freeze is ambushed in. Voidal keeps the start with that Winter's Bite.
But H2K are in a position to try and react to this one as well. You can see it's going to be Voidal picked out. He tries to block the damage down. Does manage to get the ulti down. Exile on towards him, but there's just not much damage coming through from it. Trashy Pounce is in there. H2K having to back away from this one. They have lost Forbidden, and that's a big damage dealer. But look at Hyanan out the side trying to put all the damage down. They're going to lock on towards him. Trashy goes down. AOD, can he get closed on? He will do. Exile gets in there, gets onto the second. It's a triple. It's a quadra kill for Exile. That's exactly what NIP needed to get back in this game.
It really, really was. H2K spent so much time focusing down Code and putting damage on Mozilla. They ignored Exile and Freeze. Absolutely brilliant play. The one thing I do want to note, Exile actually pulled the trigger too early. He didn't manage to catch Hyanan. Pay very careful attention to the Glacial Fissure because Exile jumps in. I don't even know if Hyanan got knocked up. 1, 2... No, Hyanan sidestepped it. Okay, so he couldn't have even got hit. But the one thing that H2K do is, in this tight enclosed corridor, all of Mozilla's AoE is shredding through everyone. Freeze is untouched until this last moment, and Exile picks his time to re-engage. Everybody was low, and he just lands those last hits, grabbing 4.
Fantastic stuff. That puts him right back in the game. Blade of the Rune King picked up by Exile. He has the damage. You can also see the Ghost Blade was picked up by Freeze, so he's going to be running to look around and stealth.
Okay, so the Freeze has picked himself up, that Ghost Blade and the Blade, as you highlighted. And I like the build, because if you compare the stats, Freak talked about this in the Challenger last week. Yomu's Ghost Blade has similar stats with the active on to a static Shiv. But what it also gives Freeze is plus 30 AD as well as cooldown reduction. So he can get more of his rat-a-tat-tats and more ambushes. So he can play that stealth game. Ko has got the support of the rest of his team, so smart play by Oda1 there. But the thing that Freeze needs to do, if he goes into a fight, opens ambush, uses Ghost Blade and his ultimate, and he doesn't kill somebody in that window of opportunity, he will then have less combat stats. So he needs to pop someone quickly, and we'll see if he can do it.
Blue buff just been picked up by Exile. H2K in good position around this jungle area. Ko's going to come around the back, but instead it's going to be H2K collapsing in towards Mozilla. Hooked in there, they're going to dive on towards Exilla. He's trying to take all the damage, taking it around. Meanwhile, Trashy's pinned out down the bottom here. Trashy will get away there, just slides on through. Voidal comes around the side, one more hit should do it. Freeze manages to get the poison tick on towards him. AOD now going to be the target. Exile chases on towards him. Does manage to put a good win wall up. That's AOD going down. He's locked up, and that's a 2-for-1 exchange. This time NIP once again in favor. It's 12-12. They can go to Baron.
This is going to be very, very risky for NRP. Oda1 there has a lot of chain CC if he can get multiple targets, and Forbidden can pop somebody. But it's a 3v4. Whoever lands the first crowd control is going to be in the advantageous position here. Baron's being melted. Smite is available for Ko. Here comes H2K.
The cocoon lands on Oda1. They do not lock on towards Hyanan quite close enough. They've kept the Baron alive. He's managed to tick down. He will be going down very quickly. They're looking to peel. You can see Oda1 once again. This time forced out. There's no ultimate available for Exile just yet. They're taking a lot of Baron damage. This time Oda1 gets locked up, and look at that. Exile goes down. They're going to pounce on this one. That's Code dropping as well. Voidal's going to get picked off here. They jump on towards Freeze. They find the rat. That's a double kill for Hyanan. And just like that, H2K are back in the game.
And now H2K can grab Baron. They have got a numbers advantage. They have full health on their jungler. Going to decide to play this one safe. The problem for NIP, they needed to have backed the moment Freeze took all that burst. The delay in that call is what cost them. Forbidden can always re-engage because with the Morel and Nomicon, with LeBlanc's low cooldowns, he's just going to get a multitude of spells off over and over and over. And NIP, unfortunately, just didn't have what they needed to get through that Jack's frontline. And look at that, Forbidden's got 4, that's probably the 5th spell he's got off during the course of this fight, and he even gets away with his life.
2 Trinity Forces were picked up after that fight. 1 for Jax and 1 for Lucian. That is a big damage upgrade for H2K. This is going to be serious problems, and once again, NIP, they have to perform the perfect fight. They need Voidal to land that knockup. If they can get onto either Hyanan or Forbidden, it will be a great move. That will take the main damage dealer down. Dragon's up in 12 seconds time. It looks like NIP this time are moving into position to take it.
Yeah, Mozilla's with them. They've also got better positioning. So H2K will be the ones that need to engage in this situation. And if H2K group up with Jax, Jarvan, and LeBlanc diving forward, it will actually play into NIP's favor. They can get the knock-up from Steel Tempest on Yasuo. They can get the knock-up from that Glacial Fissure. We'll see how it works out. H2K are splitting. They don't want to get a multi-man, and Freezer started.
Freezer started. Ratatat is running, but he's going to get caught out. A lot of damage go down on towards him. Hyanan's going to get focused. He's being caught out the back, coming around the backside, though. You can see Jax Odoamne jumping straight in towards the Odoamne. He's tanking every single member of the team, and now you can see H2K turning this back around. Just to the side, there's Hyanan, still untouched. They've moved to the tower. They hook Mozilla in towards the tower. Ko gets focused on. He repels away. He's got nowhere to go. He's going to drop straight down. H2K all very, very low. But Mozilla's going to get picked up from the side. Odoamne once again. Hyanan comes inside them. Gets the ace on NIP. H2K takes them down once again. A 4-for-1. 5-for-1.
NIP needed to get every member of H2K. They committed on 3, and they didn't get the kill onto Hyanan. They did not manage to blow him up. Look at the flank. On the left-hand side of your screen, you've got Odoamne and Forbidden coming in, and Hyanan is going to get out. Exile and Mozilla are too far away. So when those dive buddies of Jackson LeBlanc lock up multiple NIP members, there was just not enough tools for them to get away cleanly. Lose your damage dealers of Yasuo on Twitch, and that's it. You're done.
Baron picked up by H2K. That's a big, big issue now. What are NIP going to do about this one? You can see this is the end closing up. The cleanup crew comes through for H2K. And no doubt about it. Quick sidestep here from Hyanan. Nicely done.
Very nicely done as well. Hyanan is just doing, he's playing his role correctly. He hasn't been required to win the early game. His teammates did that for him. And now when he's under pressure from NIP diving onto him, he has actually avoided a lot of the damage that he needs to. H2K with an 8,000 gold lead with all of the stats that Baron gives them, as long as they keep playing the team fights the way that they are, they should close this game out. But keep in mind, we're only 3 towers to 3. Neither of these teams have made inroads into their opponent's half of the base, and that's what it's all about.
H2K will clear out this dragon. I don't think NAP want anything to do with it. They stepped away from the fight here. Where are H2K going to go towards? Can they push through that mid lane? Yeah, I think in the last fight, I think they just really didn't count how much damage H2K had built up after that failed Baron attempt. I don't think they realized how many items were just completed from the back of that fight.
Also, Freeze was the one that initiated in the alleyway. He popped the Ghost Blade, he popped the Blade of the Rune King, and he didn't assassinate anybody. The moment that Ghost Blade runs out, he loses a lot of the combat stats. And if you contrast a Bloodthirster Last Whisper Trinity Force against a Ghost Blade Blade of the Rune King, he's actually behind in outright combat stats. So Freeze, again, he's all-inning on this assassination playstyle. If he doesn't assassinate somebody, he's going to fall behind.
Blue buff continues to go to Ko, and NIP now have to play defensive duties here. H2K, where are they going to go? It's their turn to push. They've had this Baron buff for a good solid minute already. And they've not really made a great deal with it other than taking that single dragon, which they could have done without anyway.
So this is the problem for H2K. If they group up in the narrower corridors towards towers, they do run the risk of those multi-man ultimates, and that's the only thing that can pull NIP back in yet. Finding a pick-off on H2K when they're on the sides, or getting those big multi-man last breaths, which is what Exile needs to do. Mozilla's got teleport, so he's going to arrive to this defense maybe a little late, but the minion wave has already been dealt with.
Next one is Kong lining its way down there. Trash is going to try and sneak around the side, but they have good ward coverage still at the moment. NIP have their own jungle. As you can see, Trash is clearing out. Minion wave comes in, but they have good clearance. They can quickly blast it down, but that's a lot of damage on the tower. Mozilla takes a big burst, and that tower goes down very quickly. H2K, will they keep pushing? I'm not sure they will. They want to rotate around and take some more outers.
Yes, that's definitely what they should be doing. What H2K are not doing necessarily well is letting the side lanes push for them. Had H2K planned a little further ahead and got those minion waves pushing faster, they could have rotated immediately from middle tower to bottom or middle tower to top. Unfortunately, now they have to split up. Odoamne's going bottom lane, Hyanan's going top. And I don't know if they're going to recommit to going that deep into enemy territory. So, small misplays by H2K. But again, they're far enough ahead that it's not game-changing by any means of the imagination. And if you look at Mozilla, you know, down 3,000 gold, and item-wise, he's got a Negatron cloak as his only MR. That's the only MR item he's built up against Febiven with Death Cap, Needless Large Rod, Void Staff, and Marina Knock.
There's a full, what, 30 seconds left on this Baron buff. It's enough time to take this tower down if they commit to it. NIP have wisely gone wide around the jungle area. You can see H2K was setting up to try and create something. Mozilla hooked in. That's not really the target they wanted. Well blocked off by Voidal as well, mitigating all of that damage.
Oh, that NIP could have gone in. Yawning was caught by a cocoon, and because NIP are so far behind, they didn't want to run the risk of throwing everything at the AD carry. H2K now, they're going to focus the tower. They've started the fight.
They're focused on AOD. I'm not sure that's the right target. Voidal just gets destroyed where he stands. Straight locking in there. Good ultimate from Exile, but just not enough damage to follow on through. This time the Rat is just going to get taking all of that damage from the Cullen. He's having to back away. That's another tower, and 3 kills for 1 to H2K.
Yawning completely untouched that team fight. Exile threw himself in with the last breath, only managing to take out AOD. And Febiven, while he went low, he's in no threat of going down. H2K going to tank up the inhibitor turret and may even decide to push further. It's a 4-on-2. Here comes Freeze. Ghostblade's not available, keep that in mind.
Oh, big burst damage there coming out from Febiven, catching on towards Freeze. That just shows how dangerous now Freeze's position is. In fact, there's so much damage built up. This is a replay.
So, you know, Ku and the rest of the team, they're split on the left and the right-hand side. Last breath, it only hits AOD and Trashy, and Febiven, other than an auto attack in a tower, he actually wasn't under champion threat. I think NIP were not on the same page in that team fight. You know, H2K, they were split up themselves, and NIP was looking at different threats on different sides of the lane, and they didn't combo all of their abilities together. And they haven't actually been doing that all game long.
So H2K stepping up in this game. Remember, it's a best of 3 series, but they have big advantages in this matchup. Next time is the top lane they're going to push down towards. They've still got that inner turret to go to in there, but one inhibitor down is going to cause problems for NIP. Of course, they're going to have to fight those super minions in the bot lane.
Yeah, and I think the way H2K have played, they may just let the super minions do the work until Baron spawns.
Oh, trying to set up a gank.
And let's see if they can kill him.
They're getting down towards Odoamne. The lockup's there. There's the stun. They've managed to stun him out. He's got nowhere to leap to. Counter-strike, though, goes straight into Freeze. Look at that damage. He can just turn around. Tanks up 3 members, no problem. And turns it back around. Cataclysm leaps in. Coco's out. Press R, goddammit. Get him out of that Cataclysm. Coco's down. But Vivian is the one that gets the kill. And I think that just really shows how strong H2K are right now. 3 members on Odoamne couldn't take him down.
No, they couldn't. They have not invested enough into controlling or containing Jax. So he is now so far ahead that he 1v3s for 6 or 7 seconds and comes out ahead. H2K with the numbers advantage can now siege the top inhibitor turret. Mozilla's trying to split push, but all this is going to do is give away another turret to NIP. Finally, Mozilla's recalling, but it's too little too late.
Yeah, it's way too late for this party. That's the tower going down. The inhibitor will follow, and NIP are now faced with the challenge. Do they want to fight them in the open? Will they hold them out in the Nexus turrets? H2K wisely take their objective and step away.
Yeah, H2K can completely disregard Baron and finish just with the lanes, but because Baron's 20 seconds away, they may just secure it anyway. With Super Minions top and bottom lane, the map is completely theirs. If anyone from NIP moves forward, they will be jumped on.
Just off to the left-hand side is Mozilla taking that minion wave. He's in full vision of H2K. They're not going to go for it, though. They have got ward coverage here, NIP, so they're going to see that H2K have now grouped. That ward is timed out just at the right time, but they know...
Gotta play Baron baits. It is a
there.
European game after all.
I don't think that H2K really want to fight for it. They're all walking past towards, so they're in full vision. 2 members. H2K, I think, can take this Baron before NIP get close enough.
Yeah, they really can. They've got so much damage all the way down the line. NIP should just be controlling or should be focusing on pushing the bottom wave out.
Oh, they're way too late.
They're looking for a fight, and let's see if they engage.
Well,
Decide not to.
No, I'm surprised H2K didn't turn on them there. I think it's just simply the fact that Odoamne was down to half health, so H2K, stacks of gold, 1,000 plus for every single member on H2K. All going to back away and get themselves a chunk of items and put the killing blow on NIP.
Yeah, from the get-go of this matchup, H2K have been in absolute control. Their ganks on Exile with Trashy and Odoamne was just so good. We don't see a lot of Jarvan in the LCS, you know, and with the changes to junglers, why not see more of it? If you can land those, you know, Dragon Strike combos and knock people up, a combo with mobility of Jax, you see how disruptive it is. It gave Febiven such an early laning phase, and Exile has been running scared since those opening kills.
Yeah, and I think the 10-2-11, Febiven has been working wonders, got fed early on, has never really looked back. Exile has got that Infinity Edge completed, so if they can still land one of those perfect AoE combos, it may be enough, but I'm not sure. We saw it earlier on. It's very hard to take them down, especially with the health regen they now got.
It is, and I don't think we've seen an excellent ultimate from Exile yet. He's had a few decent ones, but none on priority targets. So we do see inhibitors respawn. Oh, look at the damage from Feven. And that's on the tank.
That is the tank, the tankiest member of NIP. Inhibitor goes down, they're going to rotate around, they've got the minion wave coming in as well. Are they going to try and pick out a target? Voidal uses that shield, the Unbreakable. That's going to be down in this next fight. That's an important item to try and block this. Wind Wall, of course, is up for Exile, but I wonder if they're just going to tank straight through this one. Will the rest of the team have to deal with Super Minions off the side there? You can see they're coming in. There is going to be the combo, but again, it's only Odoane they're catching out. You can see Hjarnan just off the side. Hjarnan putting all of the damage down, gets himself a double kill, keeps on chasing, gets himself the triple kill, chases on towards Freeze, dashes in there. That's going to be another one picked up by Febivan, and Mozilla, the only man standing just over the side, flashes out of the hook. It doesn't matter. H2K are going to run straight in towards the base, take down the Nexus turrets, and they will take game one.
Dominant victory from H2K Gaming. Led from the front, Trashy for me. Trashy set that all up. He got his hands on Jarvan. He did this to Loveland Shaw. He's just done it to the Ninjas in Pajamas. And I think it's ban-worthy. I really think it's ban-worthy. That was a great, great performance and very decisive play.
And it just shows the confidence that H2K have, disregarding that holy trinity of junglers. They purposely did it so they knew that Elise would get selected by NIP. No way about that. They were that confident in their Jarvan play, though. They secured that one and just said, you know what? We don't care about this holy trinity. We've got our own overpowered jungler.
Exactly. And when you've got a team that works with your ganking style so effectively, you can just keep punishing and keep punishing. Odoane had a free lane. His tower was lost early, and there was no pressure on him to shut down his CS or to gank him. And it was actually Febivan that went to gank Mozilla multiple times because Mozilla had no magic resist early. He only built armor. One Negatron cloak by the end of the game against, what was the final score? 11-14 LeBlanc.
Yeah, it's not really going to cut it, is
it?
it? Yeah. 42 kills, though, overall. Not a bad first game. Quite action-packed. It's a little bit more than we were expecting. If you remember, cast your minds back to NIP versus Millennium. I was thinking this was going to be a little bit slower.
Yeah, I was thinking it was going to be a little bit slow as well. I do think it was because of the team comps. Because NIP had this comp that had to all in, and if they all in and it worked, like it did once or twice, they'd get a lot of kills and win the fight. But more often than not, it didn't. And of course, because Jarvan and LeBlanc just play so aggressively, I think that was very impressive.
Well, for now, we are going to check in with Shox, Joe, and Officio after that match.
Thank you very much, D-Man. I'm Eva Shox supporter along with Joe Miller and Martin Officio, and to break down that win from H2K. Well, gentlemen, it was an explosive game to start it off with here in the finals of the Challenger Series. And let's take it back to the beginning. The Officio, maybe break down the picks and bans for us. A lot of comfort picks coming in for both sides.
Right, so H2K actually banned away 2 junglers. Normally you would expect them to pick Elise as their third one left of the elite junglers here. But they clearly wanted Jarvan. It was very obvious because on their first 2 picks they went Jax and Thresh instead of taking the Elise pick here. I think they were expecting NIP to just instant lock Elise and maybe even give Twitch over to the side of H2K here. Obviously, it was first pick Twitch from NIP, really wanted this pick, which didn't actually work out too well for them because they fell behind. However, it was clear H2K had a plan, get Jarvan for Trashy and just be very aggressive early on here, and we saw it, of course, with all the camping in the mid lane.
I think they were both pretty cutthroat lineups as well. I mean, we saw there at the end, we mentioned actually backstage that there's no wave clear really on either team, so if you start to fall behind with that comp, you're going to lose the game. So it was all about who was going to get started earlier on, and well, we saw H2K managed to carry it through.
Yeah, let's touch on a couple of things in that early game. First off, Jarvan putting down the pressure, and NIP actually getting the lane swap that they wanted, but they couldn't do that much with it.
Right, so yeah, NIP wants lane swap because they have Twitch and Braum, which is not a very good lane early. They want to get a few levels going, then they can become very, very strong. So it would have been easy for H2K to shut them down. Also, Jax does well against Shyvana in the early stages of the laning phase, so of course NIP got the lane swap. However, because Exile had some very poor wards, in my opinion, around the mid lane, it was very easy for H2K to just shut him down and gank him over and over and get Febivan very fed in the mid lane on LeBlanc.
Also hard, though, I think, to ward out against this kind of team. True. We saw it for the first blood, that Jarvan just comes straight through the back of the Dragon Pit, Jax jumps over onto his head, and you can't really ward every possible scenario for that.
True.
So absolutely, very sneaky Jarvan there, surpassing the wards. Now, whatever happens in the early game, you're only as strong as your team fight. So we're going to take a look at a couple of those team fights. We're going to get the first one up on the screen, actually, where the teams fight for Dragon, and it is H2K that chooses to, NIP that chooses to engage here.
Right, so yeah, H2K already started the Dragon. It was an issue for NIP throughout the entire game, actually. H2K was always one step ahead when it got to start the objectives here. They're starting up the Dragon, and now the key thing for NIP in this fight is Voidal needs to land his ulti, knock up 1 or 2 members so Exile can use his ulti and just instantly blow someone up. So if you roll the clip here, we see the exact opposite happen here. Exile misses his ulti, Voidal misses the ulti here, so Exile is actually useless in this fight here. He didn't use it, he took all the damage, had to jump out of the fight. This was basically 4 versus 5 in favor of H2K. Therefore, even though they get 1 kill on the side of NIP, there's nothing they can do, and February just picks up more and more kills and becomes also strong on this LeBlanc.
And doing really well, I think, in terms of rotating people in and out of that fight there, making sure that no one went too low. We saw LeBlanc coming in and out, in and out. Also, Odo Amne pulled off a brilliant counter-strike at the start of that fight. Just walked around the corner, I think stunned up 3 of them. Really, really good fight for H2K.
Absolutely, and we touched on the Febiven build when we were backstage. He's going full aggression, has a Rabbit on Zedcat, Morellonomicon in there. No early armor actually for him. It did pay off. Would you say that's the way he played it or the way his team played it, and was it a good choice?
Well, obviously it worked for him because he wanted to just try and snowball the game with as much damage as possible. However, when you're against Twitch and Yasuo, normally you really want this either just get some early armor or go full on for the Hourglass so you can actually protect yourself. And we actually do see here in the next replay we have, if you just pull it up on the screen, which is the team fight where NIP turns things around. If there had been an Hourglass onto February, he would have been in a lot better situation. So if you just roll the clip here, this time it's actually H2K invading onto NIP. But the great thing for NIP is Voidal takes all the damage. He's the target first. He gets a great ulti this time around, so we see the difference here. Exile gets onto February. Again, remember, no Hourglass, so he has no way to protect himself once February is onto him. So it's an easy kill, and therefore, with all the burst damage now gone from this LeBlanc here, NIP can clean up the fight, pick up the quarter kill, and get back in the game.
Really, really well done. And I actually thought that that may just be a turn of it, but fact is that LeBlanc was pretty damn fed already. Okay, if you manage to target her out right at the start of the fight like we saw there, it can go your way, but we saw time and time again that he just came in the fight, did his damage, left so that he didn't take too much damage in the meantime, and then just came back in once the cooldowns were up as well. He was, in my opinion, far too far ahead.
Agree, and it's one thing we really have to give H2K credit for. The targeting in team fights were pretty much perfect. I mean, the late game team fights was, okay, where's Freeze? Pop, he's dead. Okay, where's the next one? Exile, Doom, you're dead now. LeBlanc just went in and out, and Odo Amne taking all the damage together with Trashy. So they were very good at picking out the right targets.
Yeah, absolutely. Superior targeting there from H2K. On the other side, we saw it, a quadra kill coming in for Yasuo there for NIP, a double kill right after that. They're very low, and they decide to go for Baron at 24 minutes in, which was kind of their death sentence.
It was a weird decision, especially because the members alive from H2K was the Jax, full HP, LeBlanc, full HP, and of the AD carry, I believe also pretty much full HP. So all the carries from H2K were still alive, and yet you go for this Baron here, only 4 members. It was just very risky. NIP shouldn't have done it. They could have gone top lane instead. There was a big wave pushing into the tower, take a tower and back away.
Another thing was, they saw them coming, they had vision of the backside, they saw them loop around, they had time to actually stop doing the Baron and completely disengage from that one and walk away from it completely. Chose not to, and well, we saw what happened. Luckily for them, I think, at least at that point, that H2K went decently low themselves and didn't do Baron straight after.
And luckily for them as well, they can come back in the next game, of course. So guys, shortly, what do you think NIP can do to go into this second game more confidently?
So I basically think pick and ban phase went okay for both teams here. I don't think they have to change up too many things. Obviously the LeBlanc was an issue, but that's because Exile didn't expect all their ganks on him early on. That's where the early kills came in, started the whole snowball. I basically think NIP, if they want to play this comp, have to be more decisive and have to play the team fights better, because there were some bad team fights and that's why they fell behind. And also, of course, to the early pressure from Trashy. I don't think they have to ban away Jarvan or anything.
I think the great thing is it's a best of 3, right? So this is kind of always how it goes in a best of 3, that you feel your opponent out a little bit in the first game. You've got that 5, 10, 15 minutes in between games to maybe you can't correct everything, but at least you've got the time to talk about what went wrong. And I think you hit the nail on the head there when he said there were some team fights that just either were started off wrong or they shouldn't have just got into in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what happens. But for now, we have to take a quick break. But when we return, it is Game 2 between the Ninjas in Pajamas and H2K Gaming. We'll be right back.
Beatboxing, man.
Beatbox is lame.
Drop the bass.
Sing it.
Wow, wow.
But look at Janen out the side trying to put all the damage down. They're going to lock on towards him. Trashy goes down. AOD, can he get closed on? He will do. Exile gets in there, gets onto the second. It's a triple, it's a quadra kill. They're taking a lot of bound damage. This time Oduan gets locked up, and look at that. Exile goes down. They're going to pounce on this one. That's code dropping as well. Voidel's going to get picked off here. They jump on towards Freeze. They find the rat. That's a double kill for Janen. Ho gets focused on. He repels away. He's got nowhere to go. He's going to drop straight down. H2K all very, very low. Humozilla's going to get picked up on the side. Oduan once again. Janen comes inside them. Gets the ace on NIP. Janen pulling all of the damage down. Gets himself a double kill. Keeps on chasing. Gets himself the triple kill. Chases on towards Freeze. Dashes in there. That's going to be another one picked up by Febivan.